National Moms for Liberty Summit in Philadelphia, which was an outstanding, it was such a great event. It was a multi-day event, so many great speakers. Adam was one of them. I walked by his table a few times, and I told myself, I gotta come back to this table. And eventually I did. I bought his book, and we had a nice conversation, and I found out he was from New Jersey. And on a flyer, I asked him, I was like, maybe someday you can come up to Syracuse, and we can show you some Syracuse hospitality, and you can come and speak to some people. And shortly after I got back home, I was so inspired with what went on in Philadelphia that I knew we were having our summer social this evening, but I wanted to expand on that and try to add a little taste of the summit. So without further ado, here's a taste of the summit. Adam Coleman, everyone.
Y'all can come closer.
Come on in, please, come on in. There's more room up here, I promise.
All the cool kids.
Yeah, that's right. All the cool kids.
Come on in.
Can you all hear me okay? I talk slow, so I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Please keep making it up this way. Caleb, come on. Come on up. I'll call up your right.
All right. Thank you all for coming out, and thank you again for inviting me. I really do appreciate it. For people who are not aware who I am, my name is Adam Coleman. I'm a writer, former IT guy turned writer. I write for different publications like the New York Post, Newsweek, Epoch Times, and I'm a columnist for Human Events. Obviously, I have a book back there as well that I'm selling. But I was very much so in the same position as all of you, just a regular person who had opinions about things that were going on, who felt the need to stand up and say something. Much of my book, it stems from the reaction to George Floyd and what was going on based on the media. And for me, standing up was talking about the portrayal of Black Americans as being weak and feeble and always needing saved. To portray them as always scared by the police, or we're just one moment away from being killed by the cops, which is a false narrative. When I started writing my book and started looking into it more and preparing myself to be public with my opinions, I realized that this was deeper than race. This was a class issue that was actually happening. And what I mean by that is, anytime there's a false narrative about Black Americans, there's always someone who is Black who ends up on the news to confirm this statement, even though it's objectively false. And that person is typically of the upper class. And you have the Al Sharpton, which, by the way, you can look up for yourself. His so-called nonprofit, 2019, paid himself $1 million. Now, where does he get that money from? Where does he live in New York City? He doesn't live in the poor area. He lives where everybody else, the upper class. He has a TV show. He has an audience. He has notoriety. And this man is the mouthpiece for Black Americans, and he is the confirmation for the New York Times readers that Black people are the constant victims in American society. Now, I've been Black my whole life. And my family's Black, and my family is mixed with accomplished people, professional people. My mother's a nurse, a registered nurse. She taught nursing school. She has a master's degree. I have relatives, lawyers. I have people who are professional people, law-abiding, something floating here, law-abiding citizens who don't go to jail, hard-working, working-class people. This is not the representation. And once I realized that this was deeper than race, this is a class problem, then everything started making sense. You look at areas that are predominantly Black. Well, where's the white man that's keeping them down when everybody who's in charge is Black as well? So what's the difference? The difference is that they're of a particular class. It has nothing to do with race. See, when the mayor of Baltimore does something against the black people who live in Baltimore who are poor, guess where he lives? Not besides him. He lives in the other part, on the nice part of the town. He doesn't live with everybody else. So which means he's not invested if the poor don't survive. He's not invested if the black kids who come out of the school can't read. He don't care. He'll live around anybody, whether they're white, Hispanic, Asian, he doesn't care, as long as they're of the same ilk as he is. And that is the point that I'm trying to make, is that what we think is a culture war is kind of a culture war. See, the culture war part is the facade, right? That's the distraction. Your children being transitions, sorry, they're just casualties. That's the reality. What you're facing is a class war. And they're using culture to distract you, culture to piss you off, and it's a class warfare. Perfect example, the pandemic. Whose businesses got shut down? You mean Target, Walmart, Amazon? They didn't get shut down? I wonder why. Who donates money to politicians? The massive corporations that exist in our society. Who is the main sponsor of every TV program that you saw? Big Pharma. Pfizer. Exactly. This program is brought to you by Pfizer. Exactly. Doesn't that seem odd to you? That the people who get everything that they want always tend to be of a particular tax bracket, always seem to be at the top of a particular economic status and industry. Your kids who are going to these family schools, where do you think these administrators come from? They come from the best liberal arts schools that money can buy. And they come to your school and tell you how to teach your kids, how the morality that you as parents should actually have when it comes to your children. Remember, educators know better than you as parents as far as what these kids deserve to do and know and behave and perform. See, they know better than you. I'm part of the media now as a writer. It sounds weird to say that, but as being part of the media, the biggest thing I cannot stand is the media. The reason I don't like the media is because I understand words, I understand narrative. They set the narrative for the discussion that everybody has. They pull something out of a hat, and then everybody runs with it for a few days, gets distracted, and then a few more days later, they pull something else out of the hat that gets you distracted. They set narratives. You know why Moms for Liberty is seen as some white supremacist organization? It's because they set the narrative. But the real answer is that they hate Moms for Liberty for what it represents. It represents an organization that uplifts the working class. It represents an organization that speaks for regular people with real concerns. Amen. See, y'all aren't political operatives who are in here. You guys aren't being paid by the Koch brothers.
No.
Right. You're not. Neither am I. You know, you guys are people with genuine concerns who care. And you know who hates that? The people in power. Those people who are outside walking around, I'm getting tired now because no one really cares. But those people who are walking around, they're foot soldiers for the elite. See, I feel sad for them. I'm not angry. They're yelling at a building. They're not affecting anything. They're useful idiots, exactly. They think they're doing something. They think they're fighting for a cause. But it's a cause set by a narrative by the upper class. By the upper class that doesn't give a damn about anybody in here. So when you start to look at all the problems in our society, why is there so much dysfunction? Why is it that there's just a quickness to send your money abroad? A quickness to say, actually, perfect example, I've never seen this before in my life. The president of a foreign nation came and sat in front of Congress demanding money, and they walked out and said, we have to give him money. Now imagine, how many how many of you have financial issues that are happening in your neighborhoods? When you go and speak with your congressman and you say, I need this money for the people that you're supposed to represent, they say, well, we got to see. But even if they're going to federal level and take your tax dollars, see, something's wrong with that. Something's absolutely wrong with that. The people who are supposed to represent you don't represent you. Go to K Street in Washington, D.C. It ain't filled with people like us. It's not filled with poor, working class people who are desperate, people who need. No. It's filled with men with nice suits, getting paid, think tanks, all these people. They all exist in there in an ecosystem taking your money to funnel it to the upper class. The people that you elect, that you believe are supposed to do something for you, what do they ultimately do? They cater to their donors. You're not their donors. I'm sorry, the $5, $10 that you give them, that's not really what's getting them reelected. It's the 10,000 max that gets them reelected. It's the people who give money to their super PACs that gets them reelected. See, you're not what they care about. And I'm saying this as a hard truth because as soon as you stop looking for them to save you, you can start saving yourselves.
Amen.
I believe this mentioned before. How you stop this ideology? Yes, part of it, go to your school boards, do the things that you're supposed to do as American citizens. But the number one thing that you can do is speak to your children. Be involved in your children's lives. You prepare them for the evil that exists out in this world. Because those people up there, they're not choosing their kids. Those people out there who say marriage is a construct. You know what the upper class does? They all get married. Right? So they give you the false narratives. They give you the BS. And you're supposed to buy it and live your life this way. But they don't live their life that way. See, this is a class war. And this is not to say all rich people or anything. This isn't about rich. What it's about is mindset. It's about elitism. Those journalists who set narratives about moms for liberty, they're elitists. They're not the wealthiest people in the world, but they're at the top of their industry. They're elitists. They believe the upper class knows better, does better, and is better than you. Every one of them. Go to New York Times. They all believe that. And they get paid, handsomely for setting these narratives. So, I want you to understand that you have an enemy, but you're not seeing the enemy. You're seeing the facade. The enemy hides. He uses idiots like them who are walking outside as the front. So you guys get mad at this idiot who's walking around screaming at a building. You get distracted. You believe, if I vote in the right congressman, things will change. And then it doesn't work out, and they say, you know what, vote again the next 4 years from now. And somehow, I'll be damned, nothing changes. It's because right now our system is corrupt. Are there good people that exist within it? Sure. But you know what? I've met these people, they don't last long. Because good people don't last in corrupt systems. So, what can you do? Put pressure on these corrupt bastards. If they're not going to serve you, piss them off. If they're going to ignore you, then make them see you. Go to the school board meetings. Do your duty as parents. Do your duty as citizens to stick up and do what's right by people. We are the majority. We're normal, hardworking people who care about our communities, who care about other people. Those jerks, I'm trying not to curse, but those people that I'm talking about, they don't care about you. Those newspaper publications, they don't care. They're out to make money and go to D.C. where they can sit amongst the very people that they quote-unquote criticize at the White House, at these balls. They want to be next to the elite. That's what they're there to do. They're there to cater to them. So remember that. This is a class war. It's not that much of a culture war. That's what they want you to call it. They want you to think that America is divided by race. They want you to think that there is this oppression that's happening towards women everywhere. They want you to see what they want you to see. But it is not that. Progressivism is a boutique ideology spread by the elite. They spread it in the elite institutions so they can bring them out into your schools and teach your children. That's how they win. Your kids get confused and never focus on their pockets. So, as parents, I'm having this discussion with you. You're no longer confused. The veil is lifted. So spread this message to your children so they can see too. That's all.